we have reached the chatty portion of the video where I'm going to flip through, and by flip through I mean show you a single spread because there's nothing to flip really. I'm basically just going to walk through each part of the spread and show you close-ups of what I did, and I'm going to be trying this as like an experimental kind of video. I already did the process, which you guys saw, and then I wanted to try putting this chatty section at the end just to do like close-ups and talk through everything. We get the process and we get the chatty part. So and you get Mochi chatting too. So this side of the spread is the books that I read in March. So I read 6 books for a total of 1,795 pages. These are the 6 that I read. Mochi, stop it. Please do not rub on the tripod. Oh my god. I know I put some text on the screen earlier saying if you wanted to see my in-depth thoughts, please check out the vlog where I talk about these, my wrap-up vlog. So obviously I encourage you to check out that video. I am going to show my own stuff to you, but I'm just going to quickly high-level talk about these. I read Of Monsters and Mainframes by Barbara Truelove. This was the best book of the month. It was fantastic. I initially gave it a 4.5 and then increased my rating to a 5. For me, how my ratings work is basically if I haven't made my journal spread for it yet, it's not solidified, it's not set in stone. Once I put it in a journal, it's set in stone. I hope you wanted to see just Mochi's head instead of the journal page. You want to stand on the desk? That's not what I meant. And he's gone. Well, that was nice. So anyways, it's easy enough in my opinion to change my ratings on like Goodreads and Storygraph. It's not so easy to change them once they're written on paper. So in this case, it was fair game to bump this up to a 5. I changed a couple of the books in here. Next, I read Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. I gave that 4.5 stars. This was the longest book of the month at 484 pages. Nope, that's not how you do that. At 448 pages. Then A Murderous Relation by Diana Raybourn. I gave 4 stars. Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I gave 3 stars. I do have an entire vlog dedicated to reading Sunrise on the Reaping, so if you are interested in that, there will be a link in the description. You can check that out. When Among Crows by Veronica Roth. I also gave 3 stars. And then Emergency Skin by N.K. Jemisin. I gave 2 stars. And this was the shortest. It was only 38 pages. It was a short story. So in my journals, I obviously arrange it from highest to lowest. I like to do it that way instead of the order chronologically that I finish them in. I do my wrap-ups, like my video wrap-ups, in chronological order, but in this case, it just looks satisfying having it all in rating order. Now let's move on to the stats and calendar section. So I always do a start and end dates calendar. So the date that I started through the date that I finished it, obviously. And I had a couple that carried over from February. So I just put the date that I actually started them, which was February 27th and February 3rd for these 2. And then I have my color-coded guide on the side of what color means what. Some of these are kind of eerily similar, especially these 2, but it's fine. And this month I didn't have any books that carried over into April, so I didn't have to extend anything out. And then for these graphs on the bottom, I have number of books per rating and number of books per genre. For the books per rating, I basically have 1 in every star rating, except I have 2 3 stars. On the books per genre, I've got a little bit of a mix of everything. I have 1 fantasy, 1 dystopian, 2 sci-fi, 1 horror, and 1 mystery. Some of these do have genre overlap, but I basically just go by whatever the primary genre was on Goodreads. I will put it in that genre. And then one thing that I'm still experimenting with that I'm not sure if I'm going to keep, I'm doing this owned/loan situation as well, basically to show if it's a book that I already owned in my physical library or if it's a book that I borrowed from my library. So in this case, I had 2 books that are a loan from my library. I borrowed them physically. It doesn't really matter in this case if it's a physical loan or a digital loan. I just wanted to show how much of my reading is owned versus borrowed. In some of my previous, I think it was in January, I did a digital versus physical, and I don't love the lines that I did. This month I tried to make them the same color scheme so that it looked a little bit more cohesive. But that's it for this little chatty flip through section. I hope that you guys like this spread. I hope you enjoy a chatty section at the end just to talk about everything a little bit. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this kind of chatty chat, and also let me know in the comments what you read in March. What was your favorite book that you read? If you're not feeling chatty but you want to let me know that you were here, drop a blue heart emoji because we've got a whole blue color scheme going on this month. And that's it for this month's journal video, so please like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.